Hey everybody, welcome to another Double Tap on YouTube. I'm Stephen Scott.
And I'm Shaun Preece on that there YouTube. Hello.
Now today we are going to talk about audio. Audio, my favourite thing in the world.
Of course, yes. So we get a lot of questions about what kit we use when we're doing the radio show and when we're producing stuff. So people are interested. So, this isn't a whim. Apparently, people care.
Yeah, not only that, we even maybe planned this out a little bit this week. I mean, I know this is very unusual for us. You may not believe this, but it is true. We did actually contact someone who is an expert in these matters. So we thought we'd bring on a good friend of the show. Michael Babcock is here. Hey, Michael.
Thanks for having me. I don't know if I like the word expert, though. We'll pretend to know what we like. We know what we're talking about.
Well, put it this way. If you know more than us, I class you as an expert.
I agree. There we go.
Okay. There we go.
Now he's an expert.
Now I'm the expert.
Like Shaun says, we get a lot of questions asking us, about the kit we use. And, it's funny because when I started out in radio, it was like racks and racks of equipment, rooms with air conditioning that held lots of equipment, computers and processors and all this stuff that you needed, and huge mixing consoles and studios and lots of computers and screens everywhere. And people would come into the studio and be like, wow, look at all this kit. And you'd have CD players and cart players and all this stuff. And now you can buy this tiny little device called an audio interface, plug a microphone into it, plug that into your computer, and you've got amazing sound. And of course, the computer has all the capability. If you're a Mac user, just saying, Shaun, if you're a Mac user, you get access to so many great tools that make making podcasts and shows, YouTube videos, whatever it might be, so easy.
But see, if you're a Mac user and I'm about to shoot Steven's excitement down and you use the tool that Shaun and I have, you have a horrible experience, and we can talk about that as well.
Oh, let's definitely do that. Let's talk about the Mac and a terrible experience. Thank you, Mike.
Let's absolutely not do that. I'm silencing you. I'm cancelling you, Babcock. I have the power on YouTube to do. I can cancel you.
I hope we're talking about the same device, because the reason I wanted to talk to you, Michael, is because I've recently had a bit of a swap out of my main mixer that I connect my mic to and everything else to, my smart speaker, my smartphone when I'm recording things. So I usually have I'm going to say old-fashioned mixer, loads of dials on it and the faders you move up and down and 1,000 cables plugged into it. But I've recently swapped that out and I'm going cutting edge, I'm going modern. And I've swapped it out for something called the VoCaster 2, to be exact, because there is the VoCaster 1 and 2. I've gone for the 2. And it's a tiny little, it's kind of an audio interface. I don't know if you would call it that, but it is. And it's just got 3 dials on it and a couple of plugs. And that's it. I've got so much space on my desk now, I don't know what to do with it. But
because you had a big mixer, right? You had a big Soundcraft mixer on there. You had audio interfaces coming out of that, cables spilling out of it all over the place.
I know.
And
I was quite happy.
It was the 12
with
MTK, wasn't it, Shaun?
It was the Soundcraft 12 MTK, and it presented itself. It's got multiple audio devices in it. It was very good, except for one thing. It couldn't output and input USB at the same time. So I also had to get an audio interface to chat. Anyway, it turned into a bit of a nightmare. So
who would buy such a piece of garbage and then ship it to Manchester to give to you? Who would do something like that?
Thank you. Yes, but this is
I'm
only
not looking at myself.
Every Allen and Heath mixer that I got, the Z10, just completely blew up. So
not ideal.
I do appreciate it, Stephen. Yes,
just to be very clear, just because I know we like to wake the lawyers up when we do this, but just to be clear, this was our experience of Allen and Heath. Other Allen Heath mixers have not blown up. I just want to be very clear on this.
Your experience may be different.
Your mileage may
hopefully.
vary.
I loved the Allen and Heath mixer. I've gone through 2 or 3 where either the button stopped working, or in the case of the latest one, the power just stopped working. But yeah, either way, I've gone a lot of a more simpler setup. So I've gone for the VoCaster, and I know you've gone that way as well, Michael. So basically, this entire episode is just me looking for tips on how to set this thing up. So can you just sort of tell me why you've gone VoCaster?
Yeah, so I actually, interestingly enough, and we didn't know this until we talked, I don't know if Shaun remembers this, but I went from the Soundcraft Signature 12 MTK to the VoCaster. I used to have that tank on my desk, and it's really weird to have this very small device. So I have the VoCaster 1, which has 2 knobs and 3 buttons, and then lots of things in the back. I really like it because of the simplicity, but I think it was yesterday Shaun told me how he still reaches over for sliders, and I think I said, yeah, it'll take about 6 months or so before you stop reaching over for sliders to turn the volume down. It's a really nice kit. I will say, if you're using specifically MacBook with battery, I can't speak for Windows, but I want to preface this with letting you know the VoCaster will suck that battery like no other. My MacBook Air, when I don't have the VoCaster plugged in, will last, a day or two with regular usage. I went somewhere on a small vacation and didn't take the VoCaster with me, just took my in-ear monitors with me and used the built-in microphone. And my Mac, I had to charge it once in the 3 days that I was gone. I got home and I plugged the VoCaster in, and after 4 hours, I was getting a battery low. So just be conscious. It is a very big battery suck because the VoCaster powers itself with USB-C. So the nice thing about it is it's literally one cable that you plug into your computer, for those who don't know, and that will allow you to interface with your VoCaster and your computer, and you don't have to plug power in, which is different than that Soundcraft that we used to have. And yeah, so I can answer specific questions or get into the Mac OS issues that people might face.
Before you start trashing the Mac, I'm not having this. Before you start, I told you I'll cancel you.
I know.
Listen, I want to get to the kind of main question for me, and I think for anybody who's watching this who doesn't know, what is it about this that's so special? Describe it for us and tell us how you would use it.
So they told me not to do this type of stuff when I'm live, but I'm holding the VoCaster up to video now. I really shouldn't move it because I'm going to unplug something. And what that has is it has 3 buttons, very tactile buttons that you can easily feel. For me, that right there makes it worth it. I have this mute button. If you've done any professional audio or you care about your dignity in Zoom, you have to have a physical mute button. I can't do anything on my computer without a physical mute button because if something happens, I can just reach over, hit the button. I can hear myself in my headphones, and when I don't hear myself in my headphones, I know that I'm muted. And to me, that right there makes it worth I think they're $99 US right now for the VoCaster 1. I paid like $150 or almost $200 for mine. So they've come down substantially in price. And the other thing is on the back of the VoCaster, there is a 1/8-inch connector that allows you to plug in your phone. And then you can bring your phone into the audio. That's how I record the Shell Phone Show podcast, is I plug a cable in to the back of the VoCaster, and then I plug it into the headphone jack, because the Blind Shell still has a headphone jack. Thank you.
Yay.
Appreciate that. And then I bring the audio in and I record it on its own track in Reaper versus me on my own track. So when I'm talking over the phone, I can clean that up a little bit, which is really helpful for listeners. And then the VoCaster does have the power button. So if you just want to turn it off and switch to the MacBook speakers or your built-in speakers, you just hit that button and it's off and you're ready to go.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying it so far. Like I say, it is a bit of a change from if you're used to riding the faders, as we call it, to mute your mic or whatever. It is a change, but I do like the amount of space it gives me, and it sounds nice as well, and it's a lot simpler. The thing for me, I've looked at these various interfaces before in the past. I've got a Focusrite Scarlett 2 here, I think, audio interface, but the software has always been, well, not accessible or a bit of a nightmare to use. The thing about this VoCaster is the software that comes with it, because it's got no faders on it, and you can set it all in software, the various, if you connect a phone through Bluetooth, which is built in, as you said, or through the cable, you can adjust the sliders in the software, and the software is just so accessible. At least I'm using this on Windows 11. I'm using NVDA, but in their marketing and in their PR material, they mention, this is fully accessible with Microsoft Narrator and VoiceOver on the Mac as well. And that is something that I really like.
Yeah, and
Obviously.
the VoCaster 1, the biggest difference between the 1 and the 2 that I think people should be aware of, as well while they're looking into it is, of course, the 2 has 2 microphone inputs, and it has that Bluetooth support. If you get the VoCaster 1, you do not get that Bluetooth. So I think that's important to distinguish to people.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I must admit I was about to buy the VoCaster 1, and I remember you telling me this. And I thought, I'm so glad you did, because I just assumed it would come in both devices. But no, VoCaster 1 is pretty much just for computer connection and a microphone, right? That's pretty much all you're going to get on the VoCaster 1, which is great, I guess, for someone who might be doing regular Teams or Zoom calls. This isn't just for podcasters, right? I mean, I know it's kind of built for that market, but this could be beneficial to anybody who's blind, who wants some control over their audio that they're putting out onto Zoom.
Yeah, and if you want to take that next step and increase the level of your audio, you can get the ATR 2100X or the 2005 and just plug it in via USB and have a really decent microphone. But if you want that flexibility of being able to use any XLR microphone, and even though it doesn't have Bluetooth, honestly, I would prefer not to bring my phone in on Bluetooth because of the very slight lag that there is. You can plug your phone or your other audio equipment directly into the VoCaster. And there's also 2 quarter-inch line outs that you can plug into monitors. I haven't done that yet, but I think that would be an interesting experiment to try with too. It's those 2 jacks in the back on the bottom of the VoCaster. Shaun, you mentioned the Scarlett line of products. I do want to be fully transparent that the newest Scarlett, I believe it's the 1i1 and the 2i2, have increased accessibility with their software, and it's my understanding that they're using the same underlying framework that the VoCaster Hub is using. So since that's accessible, the new Scarlett software on those newest 4th generation lines is accessible as well, but I haven't needed to upgrade my VoCaster yet, so I can't say because I haven't tested it.
Can I just say, though, a huge plaudits go to Focusrite here, because this is something which we've wanted to have access to, is control over our audio in lots of different ways. That's why so many blind people who are into this world of podcasting tend to go down the route of having these big analog mixing desk consoles, because they can sort of get in and about the information, the detail, what the audio they're sending where. They can control all of that on the desk with tactile buttons, with tactile switches, with tactile faders, all that stuff. But up until now, there hasn't really been much in the way of software. I mean, Rode, R-O-D-E, have got a fantastic range of products. They're just not accessible. They're just not accessible to blind people. They don't work for screen reader users. Right. So a lot of the software that goes into this and a lot of the back-end stuff, some great kit. I mean, there's one I have on my desk. We use it for the TV show. It's called the Rode Streamer X, which is a fantastic piece of kit. It has the ability to connect up you can use wireless microphones with this. You can connect up an XLR microphone. You can hook up a 4K camera to this. That's what I'm using right now, so this video can be recorded. But all the software, the underlying software, is not accessible. So I need sighted help to use that. Now, with Focusrite and what they've done with this product, these products in the VoCaster range, is they've put a lot of effort into making these accessible, which is absolutely fantastic.
Audient as well. There's been some great advocacy in the community, and the Evo line of products from Audient also has very accessible software. I had the Audient Evo 16 for a brief period of time, and then I realized I didn't have enough time to learn this piece of kit, but it had some amazingly accessible software too. So for people who are looking, that's another solution.
But I would say I guess you're getting into the really high end at that point. Yes. You're kind of talking high end production, right? So I think what I'm thinking about is for people who just want to get into basic podcast production, or just get some control over their audio in a Zoom call, make sure they've got a decent microphone, can hear themselves properly, also be able to listen to a screen reader whilst being in a Zoom call. That's another big deal for us. We don't want any of that audio going back down into the Zoom call. It gives you some control over all that, right? That's why these devices are good. I wouldn't even call it entry level, but you could argue they are.
So that's a great transition. When you plug the VoCaster into your Mac, everyone on Zoom's going to hear your voiceover.
See, you just want to trash the Mac today. This is all you want to do.
Wouldn't let it lie, Stephen Scott.
Wouldn't let it go.
He wouldn't.
Yeah,
okay,
I wouldn't. But I think it's important for people to know that, though, because I have a friend who bought the VoCaster, and he is frustrated because when he came into Zoom, we're like, Marty, we hear your I wasn't going to name him, but Marty, we hear your voiceover. I don't understand what's going on. So
I had Andy. I don't know what
there we
I
go.
just had a
Yes.
guy in
Yes.
Dave.
Dave, I like it. But the gotcha is the way that it's set up and the way that macOS Core Audio handles audio, it can be a little problematic, so you do need to go get loopback. It is an extra $99, but I'll tell you what, if you're doing anything with audio on the Mac, I'm sure Stephen will agree, you need to have audio hijack and loopback.
Amazing.
Because that will make your life, that makes magic happen.
Listen, I used Audio Hijack Pro, which was from the same guys, Rogue Amoeba is the developers of this, and Audio Hijack Pro, a fantastic app. Also, Farrago, which is one I use all the time. That's for sound. I mean, what a fantastic soundboard app that is. If you want to play in clips and stuff, you can use that. But to control audio, I can do pretty much anything I want. It's actually how I'm able to use my Rodecaster Pro, because all the audio channels are exposed to the Mac, and then Loopback can take all those, and I could say, right, okay, so I want this particular channel to be my main microphone, and then what that means is I can then take that channel and make it its own input or output or whatever I want it to be, and I've got full control over that, and it's super accessible. I mean, it's a bit of a learning curve, but you know, you can get it. And there's tutorials out there. You're behind most of them.
Damasi has got to be fully transparent. Well, he taught me. Yeah. But that's the same with the VoCaster. So it sees all the inputs. The VoCaster has, I think the one has 10 and the 2 has 12 input channels. That macOS just sees VoCaster. So the secret is you want channel 5 for your microphone and channel 6 if you're using the line in. And then you can combine those or you can separate those, and I have a virtual device called Mic Only, which is actually a lie because it's Mic Only, and then I added QuickTime, and then I added this app, and I know where my audio is going. I also have a monitor in my right ear, so I always know what's being played out to the whatever streaming service I'm using, Zoom or StreamYard or other tools as well.
Listen, we're going to have to get out of here because some other video is going to have to play in a minute, so we have to get out of the way for that. So some sort of cat video may be required to be played next. So to get out of the way of it, just quickly to mention your experience so far, Shaun, because you're using it with a PC.
Yes.
PC, of course, stands for a piece of cheese,
which
is pretty much what it may as well be.
It's fantastic. I've got to say, so easy to set up. As Michael said earlier, you're running one cable, one USB-C cable for the power and the data. The buttons are all very tactile, easy to find. I was going to say that, I've got no indication of when the mute button is pressed from a tactile point of view. I'm sure there's lights all over this. But if you've got the VoCaster software running, if you Alt-Tab to it, it tells you, the checkbox is checked or it's not checked. It's all perfectly responsive. The button at the back for phantom power, I don't know if that's on or off from a tactile point of view, but if I go into the software, it tells me if it's on or off. It's either checked or not. And I press the button and that changes. It's reflected in the software. So from an accessibility point of view, I'm really happy with this. And from the audio quality as well, it seems really good. It is a different way. If you're used to your old mixer, it is a different way of doing it. But I think this is more than enough for most people. Yeah, I'm very happy.
We should come back and do a bit more of a deep dive into this, actually using it. Once you get into it for a few weeks, we should get Michael back on and we'll talk some more about this.
Yeah.
Michael, you're hosting, I think, about 8,000 podcasts at the moment. I think you're hosting one as well as the one, you're on another one right now, I believe. Because you're just always on a podcast. Where can people find you? Are you just sprayed all over the internet? We'll find you if we just put in your name.
Just go to unmute.show. That'll get you all the podcasts. I'm in the process of migrating everything to that site. So you can go to unmute.show and then find whatever podcast you want to listen to there.
Yeah, and seriously, go check them out because they're fantastic podcasts and on a wide range of topics. Damasi, of course, and Marty and all the guys do a fantastic job over there. Michael, thanks for coming on as always. Catch you soon on the other show at some point. I'm sure you'll be back on with us on Double Tap, on regular Double Tap, diet Double Tap, as it may be. Although I must admit, neither of the two of us know anything about a diet, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, Michael, thank you for coming on, and we'll catch you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember, if you do that, we will make more of these videos. You have been warned. I'm out.